started right on time, or actually we started a little early, but that's okay. I don't know. There's a couple things going on. One is I don't know what you got, but I was going to talk about. Didn't the president sign the executive order that's going to affect people that get debanked?
Well, that's to be expected in the coming days. He signed an executive order today pertaining to Bitcoin and allowing that to go into 401k programs. But a draft was released today, which is fantastic in my opinion because it's such an important issue. Debanking that so many conservatives obviously experienced. It's unconstitutional, obviously. So President Trump is moving to punish banks for past political discrimination. So it will be retroactive. He's preparing an executive order that will retroactively penalize banks that engaged in politically motivated debanking, even if they've since reversed course. And this order puts financial institutions on notice that you don't get to play politics with Americans' livelihoods and walk away unscathed. So that is great news. And this is about obviously restoring fairness, due process, and constitutional protections in the financial sector. And I know this one means a lot to you, Mike.
Absolutely, it does, everybody. And here, if everybody remembers, a lot of you will remember out there because you've been watching Lindell TV for a long time. But those of you that are new, it's been about probably 3 years now, maybe. Yeah, I think 3 years. I think it was in 22. It could have been 23. When after they had come after My Pillow and myself and all the cancellation with box stores and box stores and the shopping channels and all of that, then they came after us and debanked us. The banks canceled us. They went to my vendors and they had the vendors. They said, if you deal with My Pillow, the banks went to them and said, we're not going to give you any credit unless you stop selling to My Pillow or stop giving them credit. And this was disgusting. They even went after my Lindell Recovery Network, my Lindell's Foundation. They went after my C3, C4s. They debanked everything. American Express canceled us. No, this was a big attack, and it was two things. One is I wanted to get rid of the electronic voting machine, and two is I was friends with Donald Trump, the greatest president ever. Those were the two reasons. And I don't even think they were shy about it. They basically said, hey, we're not aligned with your politics. Well, that's exactly what he's trying to do here, is stop banks from being prejudiced against anyone because of their political beliefs or because they want to secure our elections. Why am I freezing? Here, go get him. I'm freezing up a little bit here. But yeah, so it was a complete attack on My Pillow and myself, and we were able to survive that by the grace of God. But you should, all of the cancels and everything, everyone said to me, they've been calling me up saying, Mike, you're vindicated, and I'm going, well, it is for people going forward. I would never want it to happen as what happened to My Pillow and myself to anyone else, because you'd be wiped off the face of the earth. We were canceled probably more than anyone. And by the way, our merchant servers canceled us. You had Amazon Pay, PayPal, all of these things. It was like a big snowball. Everybody, well, hey, the banks are canceled. There must be some kind of problem. Because then they look at you like, of course, I went public with it and said, shame on you, you crooked banks, but they,
the good news is that President Trump is going to sign this executive order and hopefully will be codified by Congress because, as you know, Mike, it's so important, for people not to be politically persecuted. And obviously, many J6ers and many regular American citizens were also debanked, President Trump, of course, is the famous case where the banks, threw out hundreds of millions of his dollars. And this was all pressured by the Biden administration. This is coming out now in this New York Post article, which was unbelievable. And I do think that there could be possible indictments stemming out of this in the future because, they're not naming their sources now at the banks, but Bank of America and I believe Chase employees, sources are telling the New York Post that the Biden administration was actually pressuring them to cut President Trump out and to debank various other conservatives as well, which is obviously, as you know, unconstitutional for government agencies to be getting involved and pressuring private companies like social media and like banks to be weaponized against the people. And this is exactly what they did with President Trump. It's what they did with J6ers. It's what they did with individuals like yourself. So these sources are now coming out as unnamed sources, but I think their names will come out in the future. They may be, subpoenaed before Congress potentially,
Right.
as well as the Biden administrators that were really pressuring them to debank, President Donald Trump and basically cripple him and try to get rid of him forever. They were unsuccessful because God always wins. But the truth of the matter is, this could be done again. This could be done again in a couple of years when President Trump is no longer president. So that's why it's so important that Congress really picks this up and makes this and codifies this into law, because executive
Yeah, yeah,
orders really can only last as long as the president is in office before the next
right.
president can overturn that executive order.
Yes, and that's you're so right, and I've lived it. And this also coincides with everybody. If you guys remember back in January of 21, when I had my famous picture at the White House, where I was bringing evidence of the election crimes, and the with the machines, there was also a piece of paper that said martial law. These were recommendations. I've never read the letter, but these were recommendations from lawyers. And one of those recommendations I found out later was for the president at that time to put out, I guess it would have been like an executive order thing where the people, where you couldn't be sued like with lawfare. They couldn't come after you and be prejudiced because you happen to like the greatest president ever or anything to do with politics. It's like you're passing a law where all of a sudden, hey, you can't, because of your free speech, you can't do this or that. I mean, this is a manifestation of what could have happened back then. But I think by what we see in the whole country, seeing these attacks on all individuals, on our president, I've lived it on companies. I think I was one of the few companies, My Pillow being the most attacked company in history. I mean, this isn't just individuals getting debanked. My company got debanked. I individually, they debanked everything I had. I mean, it didn't matter if I'm looking, these were more than one bank, by the way, everybody. So this was a very targeted effort to bankrupt me or to put my voice, to silence me. And that's all this all was. So this is great news. And I like what you said, Kara, it's got to be put in there permanently. Just like if you would be prejudiced against some other race or whatever, you should never be prejudiced. They should have the stuff in there that you can't make these decisions that could wipe somebody out. And one of the things too is not just banks. You guys, merchant servers like My Pillow. We have a merchant server. It's where all your transactions go through, and then you have the big four credit card companies. Now, if they cancel you, now imagine credit card companies just saying, we're not going to allow you to take our credit cards. You follow me? I had it happen with our merchant server. And then to go get another one, well, you're kind of blackballed once they take it from. Well, why did you do it? Well, everybody knew why they were doing it to me, so I was able, by the grace of God, to get another merchant server and to get another bank that was, that stood up and said, hey, we're going to take Mike Lindell and My Pillow, or we were done. I mean, it's a very scary feeling when you're going, hey, you're in this fight. You have everybody wanting to support you with sales and buying your product, and then you have no way. On the back end, you can't do anything because they got their hands around your throat and they're saying, you're stop talking.
Right. It's a way of censoring speech, and it's obviously unconstitutional. And if it is proven, I believe it will be, that Biden administration's officials actually pressured these private banks to debank President Trump, yourself, and others based on
Yeah,
your political beliefs or associates, this could constitute a serious violation, a constitutional violation, a
yeah,
criminal one.
yeah,
Obviously, possible violations include the First Amendment, freedom of speech and association. The actors obviously cannot coerce private entities to punish individuals for their political speech or associations. And if the Biden administration, rather, when they prove with receipts, like they're doing with Russiagate, if they pressured banks to close President Trump's accounts and your accounts due to your
Right.
speech,
Right.
this could be
Yep.
deemed state action violating the First Amendment protections. And there's case precedents, like, for example, O'Handley v. Weber. This was a Supreme Court case in 2022 where the Supreme Court ruled that if government actors coerce or significantly encourage a private actor to suppress speech, the state can be held responsible. And obviously, it was the state that was coercing these banks. I don't think any smart bank would throw out hundreds of millions of dollars of President Trump and others just because they feel like it. Obviously, this was being something that they were being armbarred by Biden administrators, obviously. And I really do think this will be proven.
Yep, I think you're 100% right. And here's why, even like in my own case here, this is, these banks, and they never gave us a reason. I said one of them did say, we don't agree with your politics. And and then there was actually a third bank that canceled my pillow, but they didn't cancel me personally. And I don't know why. That was a weird one. But here's the thing that tells you exactly what you're saying. Our vendors we have some that are overseas because we can't make the products here. One of them is sheets. They don't have the weavers or spinners left in the U.S., and the best cotton in the world is over there that I use for my Giza Dream sheets. Well, you had those companies that overseas. What happened? And that their bank got calls from, I believe it was government officials from the Biden administration. They got calls saying and telling them to drop my pillow. So that bank went to the vendor, that the vendors had them for decades, and said, we are cutting off your whole line of credit if you keep dealing with my pillow. You need to cut them off immediately. And I couldn't blame the vendors. I go, are you kidding me? And back then I'm going, who ordered this to these banks? I've done nothing to them. It's not like we didn't have, back then I had plenty of money, but it wasn't because that's why they were doing it. This was to destroy my pillow. And these vendors then had to make those decisions going, hey, we can't lose our whole credit line from our bank. So let's cut off my pillow, even though we were in with their best trading their best partner. And so we had two choices. Either I had to pay cash for my goods or go to someone else. But at that time, then it became a snowball effect. So then other overseas vendors, overseas banks, even the banks here, going, we don't want anything to do with it because But the point being is, I believe there was somebody ordering the code red, going, "Hey, my pillow, cancel, cancel, cancel."
Right. And those emails certainly exist as far as I'm concerned. I know that you're familiar, more than likely, they changed the name of the case, but Biden v. Missouri was a case Gateway Pundit was involved with, where all of the very mobster-like emails existed. I saw the discovery that Missouri got. The Biden administration was censoring people. They were literally, in a similar fashion, arm-barring the private social media companies to act as an arm of the government and censor people like us. I was kicked off Facebook for life.
Right.
So this was all at the
Yep.
behest of the Biden administration. And the emails are all documented under government emails because they never thought they would lose power. They thought they would be in forever, and they never
Right.
thought that anybody would look into it. But those were found in discovery. And I believe those very same emails exist when it comes to these banks, when it comes to debanking people, when it comes to removing people from payment processors and other apps. I think this all
Absolutely.
exists. And, Tulsi Gabbard's next mission after she finishes Russiagate should be investigating all of these companies. They should be investigating the Fed, should be investigating, obviously, these government agencies and these regulators that were acting as Biden's pit bulls, basically, to go after his political opponents unconstitutionally.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is great news that, all the truths that are coming out, that everything's getting unfolded. And like I say, this was another great surprise to me today. And it's almost everything that has ever been brought up to the president over these last 4 years. He's addressing everything. It's like one after another. No, it's like everything that that was hidden, you'd think it would take years to get to the bottom of all this. Obviously, we're 4.5 years ahead of with all the stuff we've been doing with the election stuff and everything. So much has been exposed. But boy, it's God's at work here through our great president to just start unraveling each little bucket, each silo. What are we going to do here? What are we going to do here? What are we going to do here? And he's got such a gift of problem solution. People don't know about our president. He is amazing when he sits there and he will ask, take in questions or take in input like a vacuum cleaner, and then he'll go, "Here's what we're going to do." It is amazing. I mean, it's and everyone can doubt this and doubt that, but if you look down the road, you say, "Wow, he was right. He was right. It worked. It worked." And one of the things now, because I like to bash Fox and Newsmax all the time while we're doing this segment, and why you should be at Lindell TV, you guys, the stuff that's going on out there, even with our election platforms and stuff, which I'm going to talk about in the second half of the hour, things that are going on. They're reporting stuff. Even like some of the fake news on the left are going, "Wow, he's right. How do you argue that? How do you argue that? He's right." But Fox and Newsmax, they'll just sit back there and they're afraid to say, especially when it comes to the election platforms and going back in time and finding out what went back there with the stolen election of 2020 and everything it manifested to. You know what I mean? So it's so there's a little commercial, everybody. With you got to be here at Lindell TV. And we got Kara here every day at the White House, and what a blessing you've been and are. And you guys, we're going to be in the press pool next week. If you want to be a part of Lindell TV, remember we're publicly traded on the OTC at MLMC. That's our call letters or our stock symbols, MLMC, and our voice is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and yeah, there it is right there. There it is, Mike. This came out yesterday, everybody. So we're getting a lot of traction. I don't know if I like the picture, but that's okay. It's funny because when we won these last couple lawsuits, they actually used pretty good pictures. So, but I don't mind that. We got great. This is a great article. If you look at the TV begin trading on the OTC as MLMC, and then also, everybody, if you want to support, there it is, the LindellOffenseFund.org. Everything we're doing out there, this isn't about my defense or my lawsuits. This is about helping your country secure your elections and secure our election platform. So I do want to go to commercial. I have a couple of things I have to do here in the next couple of minutes. But Kara, thank you so much, and keep up the great work. And you got another question in this week. You're getting more publicity out there than any other reporters, and you had a couple weeks off, and I think if you lined them up, yes. Who's getting all the questions? Lindell TV, you get it right in there, and the people love it, and you ask the right questions. The president loves you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. He loves you too. I'll see you soon. Yep. Have a great show.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to go to a quick commercial here, and we'll be right back. The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysis are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever. And in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text medals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text medals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text medals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver.
Friends, we all know the truth. Big Pharma and the federal bureaucracy have made a mess of healthcare in this country, and boy, that's an understatement. President Trump signed an executive order to bring prices down, and that's a great step. But we know that real change takes time. There's one pharmacy that is already stepping up. I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're not waiting. They're taking action now with a summer sale that gives you the power to take control of your health. Right now, through the end of June, you get 20% off site-wide, no insurance required. Did you hear that? 20% off, site-wide, no insurance required. They work with licensed doctors in all 50 states, and they ship fast, straight to your door. Whether it's ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, antibiotics, emergency kits, or your daily prescriptions, this is a time to stock up. If you believe in medical freedom, if you're tired of waiting for someone else to fix things, do what I do. Take action. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell and use promo code Lindell20, Lindell 20 for 20% off your entire order. That's allfamilypharmacy.com, Lindell. Promo code Lindell20. Let's protect our families, defend our freedom, and make America healthy again together.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, and we're going to shift gears and we're going to talk about something new, the election platforms, melting down the voting machines and turning them into prison bars and paper ballots hand counted. And we're going to talk about, once again, the biggest struggle has been in our country, which has been the uniparty Republicans, believe it or not. And I'm going to be I'm going to Las Vegas tomorrow. Big event there, everybody, where Mayor Rudy Giuliani, I think Roger Stone, there's many speakers and myself, and I'm going to be doing about an hour speech there, and it's going to be somewhat of, why is this taking so long when all the people to get revealed and all these things, and where it's going to be a lot about the blocks. The speech is called Divine Intervention, so it's all the stuff that we've done. And you can look back and go, wow, this happened and it was meant to happen, even though it might have been bad. But one of the things that surprised me the most, everybody, in this whole thing, since I was put into it really all in January of 21, where it went all in, when I was given the first piece of the evidence, I thought it'd be really simple. Here, bring that to the president. We save our country. I had all this evidence from Dennis Montgomery, worked for the CIA. He had all his credentials. Everything's there. All the evidence is there, and that it was from there. Of course, it had to be looked at and see how deep it went and how much it overturned and what it did to the elections. But when I did that, like I've told you all before, I was very, very excited when I went to the White House on January 15th of 2021. I go, wow, I get this thing signed. It was under a government protection order. I get it signed. It's going to free the country. It's overturn the election, the big steal, the biggest crime in history, and then we already experienced the biggest cover up to the biggest crime in history. And when I say that, is everyone knows if you steal the United States, the world goes down. I mean, this is a biblical or an epic battle of a spiritual battle of evil and good of biblical proportions. And anyway, the things that started to surprise me then, I expected, the media, they had attacked me before. The media started attacking. Everything's getting canceled. I didn't care because I had to show the world, hey, look at this. You guys, we got problems. And then once they realized it was all computers, it was all with electronic voting machines. And yes, everyone could say, well, Mike, it's more than that. It's early voting, mail-in voting. Well, of course it is. Dirty voter rolls, but they're all run on the computers, everybody. It's all tied in with the computers. Yes, if you get rid of the computers and the early mail-in voting, yeah, there's going to be cheating there. But it's going to be a lot easier. It would be a lot easier to catch it, even though over 100 countries have banned early voting too. But it'd be a lot easier to catch it because you're not grabbing these names off other computers on these dirty voter rolls, which, by the way, the president just came out today and they're going to, he's putting an order in to change, I just read it, to change the census, to do a new census report across the country and get rid of all the illegals and the names that are on these dirty voter rolls. Now, that'll help a lot because it'll help huge because you got like Wisconsin has over 7 million names on their dirty voter rolls. And if everybody voted that could vote in Wisconsin is 4.2 million. What do you need these other 3 million names for? I know. And the winner is Joe Biden. Really? Wrong. Lie. But anyway, what surprised me then was the media attacks in January, and then the with lawfare, that surprised me. All the media went south. That was your Newsmaxes, your Foxes, and your Salem medias of the world went silent because they all got sued, and everybody's getting sued by these machine companies. And but I didn't stop there. I thought, you know what? We're going to go around and get all the states' voter rolls, get everything, go to each state. I spent the next year and a half, over 700 and I believe it was 50 hours. We're out 4 pilots, flying around meeting politicians, Secretary of State, Attorney Generals, Congressmen, you name it. That's all I did every day. And everywhere I went, everywhere. It was, and of course, I'm only meeting with Republicans. The Democrats, most of them wouldn't even meet me. And but everywhere was a blocker. I call them blockers. Every single one was a blocker in one form or another. It was disgusting. I remember sitting in Missouri with at least 40 politicians around, including the Secretary of State, the Attorney General's office, and all of them. Now they didn't block right up front, but they didn't do anything. We're going, hey, look at this mess on your voter. Look at these people that voted. I get down to Alabama. You've all heard that story. John Merrill, Secretary of State, Republican, with a big old R in front of his name. I go, John, look at you got 4,662 people that are over 110 years old. Some are upwards of 200 that voted in the 2020 election, that voted in the election. And he looked at me and goes, well, Mike, we live pretty good here in Alabama. And I'm going, okay, funny joke. Let's look. He looks at it, says, I said, how I explain this, whatever. And then we had another meeting, and he didn't do anything, or he did do something. You know what he did? He doubled down and got more machines, more computers to watch the computers. But when we sent in teams, everybody, we sent in teams of people when they tested their machines. Their particular ones were Dominion. Because remember, I'm not prejudiced of which ones we're going to melt down. ES&S, the good old boys out of Omaha, Nebraska, Smartmatic, Hart, all of them got to go. The brand don't matter, okay? But we sent in people in Alabama when they tested the machines. The public was invited to come in and test or whatever. They just went and got typing paper. So let's see if this works for a ballot. All the alarms go off in Alabama. John Merrill's up in his office going, what do we do? What are we going to do? They're on to us. We can't, let's pull the public. He pulls the public out of there and says, no more public can witness these machines being tested. Okay? All these machines made with foreign parts. That's a whole other story. But so he blocked it. And this is the way it was everywhere. They blocked it. And a uniparty Republican blocking this for no reason. You guys, if when you go, what's the reason? Is their last name Dominion? Is it, this is what didn't make sense to me. So then you skip on down to Georgia, and it got the triple crown of call them traitors. I don't care what you call them. Brian Kemp, Chris Carr, Brian Kemp, the governor, Chris Carr, the attorney general, and the biggest one of all, the biggest blocker in history, old crooked Brad Rassenberger, the Secretary of State. 3 Republicans in Georgia. Okay. We had more in Georgia. Garland Favorito, his great team down there. There's more stuff that went on in Georgia than you could even imagine. I'm sitting outside the governor's mansion back then with Brian Kemp, afraid to even come out. Then we brought boxes and boxes of evidence to him and dropped it off at his office and at the courthouse or whatever. And it was disgusting. They just kept block. And we're showing evidence, more evidence of every single election they had down there. And then there's a case going on down there. It's called the curling case against crooked Brad Rassenberger. Remember, he's the one, the perfect call with the president, which actually showed the evidence that said that they went after the president on. They turned around. He's the one that did the crooked stuff, not our great president. Well, anyway, so this curling case, as things started to happen, everybody's going, I started to learn 2 words, sanctions and standing. I'm going, what does that mean? It means that you don't have standing. That's an easy way for a judge just to throw something out. What do you mean I don't have standing? A good example is Arizona. Here's Arizona down there. Remember Maricopa County, all the crooked Republicans down there, the uniparty Republicans that cheated so bad it was so blatant. It's so blatant there, it was unbelievable. The biggest audit ever done in history. They covered things up there, like the UACAVA votes, the overseas military. Just in Maricopa County alone, it was like 8,900 UACAVA votes came in. They're all emailed in now, and they were all for Biden, except for like 2% for Donald Trump. And this came out, they didn't do anything. People voted twice, 3 times their names that came out in the report. They covered it up. These uniparty Republicans covered it up. Down there in Arizona, when the Republican Senate, they covered that up. They blocked. These were the biggest things that surprised me. And it should surprise everyone. Now, is everybody a uniparty Republican? No, some are just cowards and they're just going along with the little uniparty Republican leaders. It's disgusting. Well, here's what's going on right now. But I'm going to show you some examples. I'll tell you some examples. Back in the day in Arizona, I'll use an example there. Karen Fann was the head of the Senate in Arizona. And we were going to decertify, they were going to vote that day to decertify Arizona. And a gal went there, her name is Heather Honey. She went to Arizona, and she had all this explosive evidence. And Karen Fann gets it and goes, this is too explosive. I'm not going to show it to the Senate. I'm going to give it to the crooked Attorney General Bonovich, another Republican. And that's where it sat. And it never went anywhere, everybody. So that they did not get to see this evidence. Oh, we moved it over here. Then you had things going on where you maybe had Republicans when they went to vote. One guy would never change. I remember back in the day in Arizona, he was going to vote. They had a majority, and then all of a sudden over the weekend he flip flops over here, and he's not going to vote to decertify. He's not going to vote to look into things. Now, did he get a phone call? You're living with a pretty nice family. I don't know. But I do know this. Let's just go down back to Arizona. Remember, their governor was Doug Ducey, a Republican. Horrible with that. But what does he do? Back then when Rudy Giuliani and it went down to Arizona, and this is before, it was right after the election, like in November, early December, and And he goes down there with his team, all the lawyers for the president and stuff, and they're showing 10 hours of evidence just in Arizona. 10 hours. You know who showed up, everybody? RSBN and maybe one or two other outlets, maybe OAN, I don't know. Fox, all the other ones, they weren't there. They said, don't come, don't come. What is that? Okay. So they do that. And then Doug Ducey, where they're 3 hours into the evidence, Doug tells the nation, Arizona certifies it was a good election. You didn't even want to see the other 7 hours of the evidence. I'm sorry, everyone, but that's disgusting. I called up Doug and he wouldn't take my call, but he took it the week before when he wanted me to donate money. So, Doug, you're disgusting. Lose my number. I mean, it's just disgusting. Republican, uniparty Republican. All of these guys had alternative. When politicians, everybody, make decisions that don't help anybody, I'm talking about Democrats, the people. If it doesn't help us, there's a hidden agenda. It could either be a very self-serving agenda or a very evil agenda or both. You know, am I saying everyone like Doug Ducey? I would say he had to be both. You intentionally didn't even watch the next 7 hours of the evidence, even though you told all the other news outlets to stay away. This is what went on. And it was like so frustrating to watch this and to live this as my teams went out across the country and every place we would go. You go into South Dakota, and you think, wow, this should be easy. It's a Republican state. Should be easy. Give them machine free. Go to paper ballots and count it. County by county. You know who blocked it, everybody? The Republicans. The uniparty Republicans. Why did they block it? It doesn't make sense. Every state has a story like this. Every single one. I've been in every single state, from Alaska to Hawaii, and every state from Oregon to Florida, California, and we as our teams would make progress, they get whacked by, there's states like Colorado, and I'm sitting here in Minnesota where it's completely Democrat, where they just destroyed everything. And, and everyone says they're too far gone. No state's too far gone. I just seen a thing yesterday. It put up, Mike, I posted something about Arkansas, which I'm going to tell you about in a minute. This is the latest blocking fiasco. So I posted this, and they're going, Mike, what do you care about Arkansas for? You should be worried about the swing states. Quit wasting your time. Let me tell you something. Whoever wrote that, which I gave him a long, 2 o'clock in the morning, gave him a long answer. This isn't about one state, winning one state. This is about, if we don't get rid of these voting machines and go to paper ballots, hand counting, it's over. I'm telling you, 132 countries have banned electronic voting machines. If we don't get rid of them, it's over. They're going to steal things back, call it the uniparty, deep state, globalists, the CCP, that group. They're going to steal it back, and we all know where that was going. We cannot let these great 4 years with our great president Donald Trump be just a blip in history, and all in vain. You see it on the screen. Go to mypillowtrial.com, call that number, donate. Every dime goes to help save our country. Every single dime. We're not going to stop everything we've gotten this far. Now I'm going to tell you about Arkansas. In Arkansas, this is just an example. Remember, this kind of stuff happens everywhere, but Arkansas, this is so blatant, it's almost bizarre. So Arkansas, which is about 70% red, it is 70%. They stole, 4 or 5% the 2020 election, at least that. And they had to balance everything. It doesn't matter if you're Donald Trump won, there's still, or it doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. There's places I have plenty of examples where the machines flipped it from Democrats to Republicans. Kansas, it was all over Kansas that happened in the 2022 election. But there's plenty of examples of that because it's the uniparty. This isn't an all Democrat thing. This is the uniparty. And how do I know this? Because we've lived it. My teams have lived it. Now we're going to talk about Arkansas. And you guys, some of you have already heard this, but there's news that just happened yesterday. So in Arkansas, You got the great fighters there. Will Huff, Colonel Conrad Reynolds, and these guys don't stop. I've never seen anything like it. They just don't stop. And they've been to all these other states. They tried to help get Robin Voss, get rid of him in Wisconsin, one of the biggest blockers in history. Big uniparty, horrible stuff he does to Wisconsin, to our country, and to the world. But anyway, Cleburne County, Arkansas has, just like almost every state does, where the people in your county can just go vote, and the commission can say, hey, we're going to go to paper ballots. We're not going to use these machines. We're not going to use them. It's cheaper to use paper. It's more accurate now. We've proven everything. Okay? There's no reason for them not to do it. So Cleburne County, Arkansas, they vote to do it. Okay? Hey, we're going to do it. I think it was January of 22. January 22. So, and anyway, they vote to do it. And then what? Not even a month or two later, by the way, all these other counties in Arkansas were going to follow suit. A couple months later, I think a month later, guy by the name of Kim Hammers. This guy, Republican, remember, Arkansas, 70-some% red or 70%. This guy's Republican. He shoves a bill through, and the bill says, if you are a county in Arkansas and you go to paper ballots, hand counting, we're defunding you. We're defunding you. I mean, you can't make this up. Now, let's see. Who's the governor there? Is it Sarah? Yeah, Sarah Sanders. Okay, Huckabee. She stamps it. Boom. So Cleburne County goes, you know what? We got to bring the machines back. Roll them back in here. Get them crooked black boxes back in here. Sorry, people. They blackmailed us in. We have to go to paper. We have to go back to the machines. The government just blackmailed us and said, we don't care how you people voted. How dare you, county, to even think about it? It's over for you if you don't. Okay, we'll take them back. Come on, bring back the machines. So they bring them back in. Now you got the fear put out all of Arkansas, right? The fear. Oh, man, we can't do that. Well, one county was brave. And I want to play, I'm going to tell you about this county. They decided that they're going to go to paper anyway. They did paper ballots, hand counted in the 2024 election. I believe it's called Searcy County. And I could have said it wrong, but they just amazing down there. They went and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Well, the Uniparty Republicans said, you know what? Run by Sarah Sanders, said, you know what? You guys, how dare you do that? And they went and you went out and you rented camera equipment. They rented equipment so you can see everything, the whole process, because it's all new. But you rented the camera equipment and I could get this wrong, but I believe I'm right, for $100. They said they shopped around and they saved the county all this money, like thousands of dollars. They saved the county. Plus, they got rid of the machines so they know it's an accurate election. Now you have a perfect prototype for Arkansas. Look, we did it. It's beautiful. Instead, you know what Sarah Sanders and the gang did? They went after him and said, no, you guys should have spent more money than $100. That's money. You saved so much money and you only spent $100. By you doing that, you violated Section 60 whatever, blah, 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 that says you should have spent more money or it becomes a donation. And you can't take donations for the elections there. They got that rule too. Like someone couldn't come in and say, hey, we'll help you and buy all your paper, blah, 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 whatever it is, which is fine because you don't want, I think that's an old trick Mark Zuckerberg tried when he bought all the drop boxes in Wisconsin and other places, donating them. Yeah, okay, Mark, good job. Criminal. Anyway, so but this was different. They honestly just saved the county money and they still charge, they still got charged, but it was such a great savings. It's a very small county, but a perfect prototype. So instead of the news saying, look at these guys, Sarah Sanders, by the way, the president of the United States, just 3 months ago, said straight out to all the governors, hey, we've got to get to paper ballots hand counted. He put out an executive order. You got to get rid of the machines that are made in China. All these things, no QR codes. None of these states are following through. They're just sitting back, like Arkansas being one of the worst. And he even said, "Isn't that right, Sarah? We need to get to this." He called her out. Oh, yes, Mr. President. That's we Arkansas, yeah, thumbs up. That's a lie, Sarah. You're lying. What you did to then these people that ran that election, you guys, they charged them with charges. The uniparty Republicans in Arkansas charged these great people in this county that were running the election and said, you know what? You guys did this, and if you agree that you don't work in elections for 14 years, we'll settle. But they didn't settle. They said, no, what, you didn't do nothing wrong. We did it for our county. This is what we want. Paper ballots hand counted. And you know what? It went to court, or went to before the board yesterday, and I want to play the tape. Here's the outcome, everybody. If you can, Jason, if you can play that tape, that'd be awesome.
Today, the Arkansas Board of Election Commissioners holding a hearing to decide if 3 Searcy County election commissioners violated the law.
Searcy County was the only county in the state to use paper ballots in the 2024 election. Caroline Derby joining us now live in Little Rock after being at that hearing all day long today. Caroline, and we say all day long, we mean all day. It was a long one.
Bob, we do mean all day long, since I was been here, I guess, since about 8:45 this morning, wrapped up around 4 o'clock today, and we heard lots of testimony today. There are 4 different issues talked about, but only 2 of them led to sanctions for the Searcy County election commissioners. Now, one of those issues that was debated in today's meeting included accepting something of value from an unapproved source. Trying to have transparency, the Searcy County commissioners, Laura Gross, Elsie Ratchford, and Ken Weekly, wanted video and camera equipment so people could watch the live hand counting of the paper ballots. An election monitor from the state board reported a possible law violation. The complaint accuses the Searcy commissioners of accepting the video equipment as a gift or donation, which is against the law. The 3 Searcy County commissioners say they rented the materials for $100. The staff of the Board of Election Commissioners believe the price was too low for the services they acquired like that.
We're a very, very poor county, small county. We got the best deal we could for the taxpayers of our county. And now then they're turning around and saying that this was a gift. We paid for this. It was not a gift.
They're required to provide public access to observe the hand counting process. They were using this technology to do it, which is great. Using that technology is great. But as the board found today, the failure to pay for it was an issue. It was like a donation because you had someone who was there 20-something hours.
Separately, the motion
Back in June, the board offered to settle by sanctioning the 3 Searcy County commissioners to a letter of reprimand and decertification for 7 election cycles. The Searcy County commissioners opted for a hearing, which all played out today. The board found the commissioners didn't intend to violate the law and they will not be decertified for any amount of time. The other issue that ended with the letter of reprimand was failing to post the names of certain election officials 8 days before Election Day. A lot to unpack here. We'll have more on our website, krk.com.
Now, it's I don't know if you followed that, but how disgusting is that? That guy, they're going, he violated, they only paid $100 to save their county money. I mean, it's just unreal. And my call out is to Sarah Sanders Huckabee. You're the governor. You should have stepped in and said, hey, they did, what a great hand counting system. It was beautiful. Instead, they got attacked. And so what does that send a message, everybody? If you're a county in Arkansas and you say, hey, we don't care if we want to save our county money and we want fair elections, paper ballot, hand counted, what does that send a message to them? That they got to sit and fight their board and fight our own government? when the people voted to do that. These are uniparty blocking Republicans, disgusting. So down there, you're just scaring the other counties. By the way, those are Democrats, Republicans, and the hand counting systems that we've developed. That there's 3 of them that my teams have developed across the country. They're absolutely amazing. I've met with France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands. We took all their stuff and combined them. We have the best hand counting systems in history. Linda Rand out of Missouri, you guys said she's had it now for 3 years. It's so beautiful, all the stuff you can find. You guys check out the Cause of America and our Election Crime Bureau, all this stuff. You can learn so much there. But this is what we have to get to, and we're blocked. I mean, sure, they ruled that they don't have to stay out of elections for 14 years. What was that? Oh, you don't get to help at your county for 14 years because you bought a piece or you rented a piece of equipment that they thought you should spend a lot more. You know what? All the investigation and the time they put into attacking those nice people, those heroes at Searcy County, Arkansas, think if they'd actually dig into counties and say, how much should you pay Dominion for those machines? Let's see if they're accurate. Let's look into those machines. Let's look into Smartmatics over in LA County. Let's look into ES&S. Let's look into HART. I tell you, if you're people out there in every county you're in, you should go to your county officials, say, who do we have for our vendor? We want to know. We want some accountability. You know, we pay for these electronic voting machines, everybody, and they run our government. They run our elections. I have questioned them for 4.5 years and been nothing but attacked. Well, our great president wants paper ballots hand counted. 132 countries have banned them. This isn't something we can wait on. We have to get rid of them now. And we need to call out Republicans, uniparty Republicans like Sarah Sanders and all these in Arkansas. Let Arkansas counties go to paper ballots hand counted, Sarah Sanders. I'm calling you out now. Why don't you set an example for this country and for our great president that told you to do it? He said, you need to all do this. That's what you need to do, Sarah, by what you've done to these people down there. This just disgusting. Don't we want to save money for our county? You're worried about them not spending enough, but yet you can be like Louisiana, where they're thinking about spending hundreds of $millions for more machines down there. Jeff Landry, if you're watching, he's a good friend of mine, the governor of Louisiana. If you're even thinking about anything other than paper ballots hand counted, you'll be the next one called out. Their Secretary of State down in Louisiana, I don't know what they're thinking, but we're gonna be heading down there and finding out everything about Louisiana. Remember, back in the day, Georgia spent $110 million on Dominion machines, crooked Brad Ratzenberger and Brian Kemp. And then they went to court for 7 years over them crooked machines. Finally, a judge just this last spring goes, you know what? They didn't have standing. These were Democrats that questioned the machines. And the judge, after 7 years, after Alex Halderman, who's a horrible, horrible cyber guy, a terrible man, but he hacked into the machine right in front of the judge with a ballpoint pen and flipped the whole election. That was January, a year ago, January. Well, that judge had to make a ruling. What do I do? What do I do? Well, she waited till after the 2020 election or 2024 election. Then she just a few months ago said, after 7 years, you don't have standing. You guys don't have standing. If we, the people, don't have standing, who does? At that time, there were Democrats and Republicans in there. So this is what we're up against, everybody. Blockers, blockers, and blockers. It's disgusting, but we're going to get through the blockers. We're going from the top down. Our great president, he's not stopping. He knows that the biggest concern and danger to our country, bar none, is those electronic voting machines and our election platforms. There is nothing. Everything else is nothing if you don't have that. If we lose that, all these great things, the end of wars, the economy, and all this stuff, this is just a little blip in history. Well, everybody enjoy it now, because if you don't get rid of these machines, it's over. If you don't get rid of early voting and mail-in voting, it could be over. But the machines have to go no matter what. The other stuff you can work on, over 100 countries have banned that. 132 countries have banned the electronic voting machine. Argentina was the last one to say, you know what? One judge said they got to go. And they flipped them to paper ballots, hand count, did it in 4 months. They had a great election. They freed their country of communism, socialism rule. Boom, it's beautiful. The people have spoken. They got to have a real vote. On the opposite side of the spectrum, the last country stole was Brazil. Good friend of mine, President Bolsonaro, and his son Eduardo. The presidents, they just keep attacking him. They keep attacking him, even though they stole the election from a guy that was in prison with crimes against Brazil, gets put in as president. Just machines. No paper, no nothing. Here's the machines. One-day voting paper or machine. Little bells or little whistles, don't matter. They could have just been hollow. And the winner is Lula, fresh out of prison, is now your president, Brazil. It's horrible. By the way, if you're from Brazil or if you speak Portuguese, our sister platform here, which is Vocal, VOCL, is social. It's a Facebook on steroids. It's everything you want to know about election. Their election platforms. You all need to get an account. That is in 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Portuguese. The reason it's in Portuguese, we were going to have a way for. If President Bolsonaro would have been here, he could have communicated with his country. Now they banned all that. They banned it all. He's banned. He can't even. I don't even think he can go out of his house. It's disgusting. So this is where we at. You've seen the opposite ends of the spectrum. We got Argentina. You got Brazil. And then you got us here in the United States. We have the worst election platforms in the world. You guys, if you can donate, and this all wasn't about getting you to donate, but we need the money. We're working from the ground up, and our president's working from the top down. Go to mypillowtrial.com, 800-648-8986. That's actually for an appeal of the case I have. As I keep winning cases, the big one I just won, the $5 million challenge, everybody, that opens the door. These uniparty Republicans can't say, well, you're evident nothing happened in 2020. These machines are just fine. There's no evidence. Your evidence was debunked, Mike. No, it wasn't. The federal court overturned it here in Minneapolis. It's all real. Don't let it. We can't let this happen again. We can't. We have to secure our elections. Use mistakes and use attacks and things that we thought were horrific at the time. God uses all things for good for those who believe. The 2020 election will go down as the most important election in human history because we've looked into it. It opened people's eyes going, hey, maybe there was problems with our election. Maybe these machines do need to be melted down, like Mike Lindell says, into prison bars. All the people they're going after right now and all those things, it all ties together. Your Obamas, your Hillarys, your Brennans, your Clappers, they're all tied into this stuff. All of them. When all this comes out, they can be the ones, hey, let me out. It's disgusting. It's all one big traitor world out there. The traitors against our country and against the world. So there it is. I guess I'm out of time here. All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow. I'll be live from Las Vegas tomorrow for that big speaking event down there with heroes that are down there that like Mayor Rudy Giuliani, that and many others they're helping save our country and all of you out there. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks.
Ever see this guy with the pillows on Fox? My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. He is the greatest. The My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. And he's been with us right from the beginning.
If you want to feel and look